It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Allen puts a man in motion. Allen looks. He's back. He's firing. And it is incomplete. The Eagles win. The Eagles win. Now there's 5 seconds on the clock, but the Eagles are going to win.
Purdy's in the shotgun with Robinson beside him. They're at the Bears' 38-yard line, second down. Purdy drops back. Purdy steps up. Purdy throws middle. There's Jennings. He's got it. Inside the 20, the 10. He's gone. Touchdown. 49ers back in front. No timeouts left. Here's the snap. Williams looking left. Williams looking right. Williams U-turns. Gets away from Huff. Still looking. Backpedaling. Throws. And it is incomplete. The ball game is over. And the 49ers have won it.
Highlights around the NFL. A thriller as the Niners beat the Bears 42-38. And the 49ers set up a showdown with Seattle Saturday. Winner will be the NFC West champ, the 1 seed. They'll get a first-round playoff bye and be home as long as they're alive in the NFC playoffs. PK, you're not here for those Kyle Whittingham defensive showdowns. You're here for the high-scoring games. You got what you wanted.
Sunday night was a beautiful game. Absolutely loved it. Loved it seeing going back and forth. All that offense. It was the antithesis of the Bills and Eagles.
It was the antithesis of the Bills and Eagles, which was a snooze fest in the freezing rain. But over here, where the players could feel their fingertips, they were making catches. The Niners now, they went into a bye week. They had a late bye. They played 3 games since the bye. 37 points, 48 points, 42 points. They've come out of it unstoppable. We got 1 more week of regular season, some seeding to be decided. The playoffs are largely set. If they had their guys, they'd clearly be the Super Bowl pick, but they don't have Bosa. They don't have Fred Warner. They showed him Fred Warner during the game, and the update is, maybe the NFC title game, he could be back. If they had their guys, I think they'd be the pick, but now it looks incredibly wide open. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
I don't know that I would necessarily go if they have 2 other guys there. I mean, because you're assuming every other team is 100% healthy.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone else has to have injuries. And this one team gets to be 100%.
Yeah, you got a future Jazz broadcasting if you want to go with that line. So, I mean, you play who you play, and away you go.
Little things matter in football, and the freezing rain kick an extra point already. But the Bills had the first one blocked, decided to go for 2. Bold call. But, man, they ran a good play. They had a guy wide open, and then the throw just wasn't close. I don't know how to explain it other than the throw was not even close.
Yeah, I think on 2-point conversions, you have got to run some form of a trick play. I don't think you can just drop back in a traditional pocket situation. It just doesn't seem to work. And if it does, it has to be within the first 2-3 seconds max. At that point, it seems like it's all sorts of issues.
We've been talking about NBA tanking this year, and we will get to that coming up. But the Giants beating the Raiders for the 3rd win and going for it, that's a front office thing. The players, hey, let's bring in some good players to take my job away. Yeah, there's just no incentive. And the Giants thrash the Raiders 34-10. They pick up win number 3. No tanking for New York or Jersey.
I don't think that it really matters in the NFL. I mean, the NFL is about 53 players. It's not about one singular player. And there's no quarterback in this draft who's an absolute can't-miss prospect unless I'm missing somebody off the top of my head. I don't think Mendoza is that. At no point has he ever been that. And so you play to win the game, as the guy I hate once said. And what you do with the opportunity to acquire talent in the offseason, drafting is a critical component of it, but you have free agency. You have free agency with undrafted players who can come in. There's too many components. It's not even close to the NBA.
Dumping on the Bills and the Eagles for not scoring points, justifiably. But how about the Steelers and Browns? Pittsburgh clinches the division with a win. They lose 13-6. and they lose in Cleveland for the 4th straight year. Doesn't make any sense with the Browns being this bad, but it keeps happening. There aren't that many true rivalries in the NFL. They tend to follow, key players or maybe key coaches. But the Steelers and Browns, because they're 90 minutes apart, that seems to be one legit rivalry, and the Browns win at home again.
Well, I can't explain what happened 2 or 3 years ago because I wouldn't have known. I'm not into how many games you lost here or there. That doesn't make any sense to me. Who cares what happened 4 years ago? I think it's just proves that DK Metcalf has done a stupid thing.
Yep.
And he should have let it go. Now, the fan, we need to stop yelling at the players. So he needs to bear some responsibility. They need to stop doing that. This is entertainment. You don't go to a movie and sit there and scream at the actors, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the way I view sports. It's entertainment. So just stay in the stands. If you want to boo, but don't yell at them anything personally. And Metcalf didn't need to go over there.
Nope.
They don't have a receiver anything close to him. And that's not me speaking exclusively. I'm listening to what all the commentators are saying yesterday to get some insight as to why that happened. And then I think that they were all pointing to that. You just can't do that type of stuff. You literally cost your team potentially a game, and obviously you cost yourself some money.
44-year-old Phillip Rivers, a San Diego Charger, PK. There he is, number 17. Got him going today. He's played well, but he can't win. Jacksonville wins. The Colts have lost 3 in a row with Phillip there, and of course the losing streak's longer than that. It looks like they're going to lose out to finish the year. Jacksonville at 12-4. You view them as a real Super Bowl contender, along with the Patriots, the Broncos, and whoever else in the AFC?
Yeah, probably. Why not?
Yeah, right?
There isn't. The Chiefs aren't there this year.
Yep.
They don't have the track record. The Bills, they've got a track record of being good but losing in the playoffs. What does that mean? Now, you could argue for Buffalo's perspective that it actually ramps up the pressure. It doesn't decrease the pressure with the Chiefs not being there because obviously they've been the roadblock.
Yes. And obviously the Bills have looked vulnerable here. They've lost 5 times. It's not like they're an unbeatable machine.
Right.
I mean, they make mistakes offensively, defensively. It seems like it's always something. All right, NFL football tonight. You got a Monday night game with the Rams and the Falcons. The Rams just playing for playoff positioning at this point. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
Cougars win. It wasn't always pretty, PK. They dug a hole, but they came back again. They've done it before. They did it again. Maybe reminiscent of Colorado. Maybe got another game it reminds you of. They got in a hole. The turnovers, they got in their own way on offense and on special teams, but they still rally and win the game. So 12-2 for the first time in more than 20 years. They win 12 games. Big year for them.
Well, they had to send Jay Hill out the right way, and they had to send the seniors out the right way.
Yep. There it is. And they did with the shutout in the second half, and they get the win. Bear Bachmeier doesn't disclose everything about the injury, but he ran a lot less, but he threw for 325 yards in the game. Wants the pick back, I suppose, but a pretty strong performance from him.
Yeah, obviously the game plan was to throw. It was to throw early and throw often throughout the entire game. A-Rod set up a good play. Maybe it's a going-away present for Aaron Roderick because I think there's a connection there with Morgan Scalley and all that stuff. We'll see in the coming days. I know there's been conversations and whatnot. We'll see what happens there. But, yeah, set it up for them. And they had the bulk of the receivers, right? Carson Ryan had some big catches, some tough yards. And so they did what they needed to do. Evan Johnson gets burned at the end. I thought, is that BYU's 4th and 17? Was it with Max Hall to Austin Collie? Is it going to come back to haunt him? Because it seemed like that was improbable. Then obviously Evan Johnson gets the interception there. And from that point on, after they completed that pass, I think Georgia Tech offense went 0-for-4. Yep. And it was a real thrilling game, And it's a plea for keep the Bulls around for at least a little bit longer. There are some values in having these games. I mean, attendance didn't look all that good and all, but for us watching the game, it was fun, and the players seemed to have fun.
ESPN takes a lot of heat, and ESPN's probably earned a lot of heat, but I think they're the ones who are going to keep the Bulls around. They want the programming, and they own some of the games. So I find it hard to believe the colleges are going to pass some rule and ban them. So what do you think about Demooney at running back? 7 carries, 48 yards. Who's going to be RB1? And we got a transfer portal, so you never know. But how impressed were you with the way he ran the ball?
The second half, yeah, he looked good. And Aaron Roderick said leading up to it, I mean, it's his opportunity to see what he has. And once he sort of got his feet under him, obviously he looked good. He's not the biggest dude, but he ran tough. He looked like he has some agility, some lively legs, because obviously he hadn't been used that much of it all during the season. And so, yeah, I think he was impressive under the circumstances for sure.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Michigan formally introduced Kyle Whittingham as the Wolverines' new head coach. There he was in blue. How disoriented were you, PK? It was a wild weekend. You knew the press conference was coming, but it looked weird nonetheless.
It didn't look weird at all to me because I'm not a Utah fan. I'm a Kyle Whittingham fan, and I've been this way for years. I root for individuals, right? I'm going to be rooting for Weber State next season. Now I got to root for Michigan. And so for me, when you've been in this business this long, I'm not attached to. I'm a Morgan Scalley fan. I'll say that going forward. There's no question about that. Had some communication with him over the weekend, and I want to see him do well. But I'm fans of people, not teams. So to me, Kyle Whittingham, the fan I am of him and the relationship I have with him, that hasn't changed. In fact, we were setting up to an intermediary, a Barton Hills Country Club, which is just right out of Ann Arbor. I've got to find my way there to be able to play on that course. It's since 1919 is when it opened. So I'm looking forward to getting a Barton Hills Country Club here soon. And I've got some family there that I could sponge off of, my wife's family. So I hope to be back there.
You're setting up free lodging and free golf. Now, the only question is, what about airfare, PK? What can you swing there?
Well, I want to talk to some of our management and see if I can get back there. I think their first game is against Western Michigan, but the second game is against Oklahoma. Yeah, and I think it would be cool to go back there and spend a few days, get an inside look. So we'll see what happens there in the coming weeks. If the company's interested in that, I can do that. Otherwise, I may hit you up for a loan. I mean, I had to do a hit from just, a basic room on Saturday. or Friday. You just has no idea of your affluence. You're telling us overlooking the Chesapeake. You don't understand how that makes the rest of us feel so small and so marginal when you do. I read that to my wife, and she said, "Is he kidding?" I said, "No. He's so unaware of his affluence. He's telling us about the size of his television. He does hits overlooking the Chesapeake." Yeah, I mean, come on.
Good news for those of you who have family that come visit and you get everybody home for the holidays. Some of us have to go running around to find him. So there you go. That's what drove that.
But you could have just. I'm sitting in a car. I did a hit. Scotty was in a car.
They were sitting in the car. They were sitting in the car because it was warmer. It was so freaking cold. I thought I was going to drop the phone.
Then why didn't you sit in the car with them?
Oh, they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to listen to that.
Do whatever you want. Do it with somebody dipping grapes in your mouth. But don't tell us about it.
Grapes in my mouth.
Yeah.
DJ and PK.
Jeez.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
It's not easy to do that, especially on the road, but we've seen this a bunch of times this year where in close games our team is not afraid. They don't look scattered. They're very connected, and they're stepping up and making a lot of big plays. So I'm so proud of our group.
Utah Jazz back-to-back wins. They beat the Detroit Pistons, first place in the East. They beat the Spurs, who'd won 8 out of 9 and had back-to-back wins over Oklahoma City. And the Jazz, it wasn't just a good weekend. They 6-6 now in their last 12 games, PK. They are picking up speed.
Okay, here's to number 10. Get the 10th place, I guess, if that matters to you. But, I mean, they make shots. I know you're making more.
They did make shots.
In San Antonio, they shot 54% from the floor and 45-plus from the three. If you're going to do that, you're going to win games.
Do they have guys who can routinely make shots? How routinely can they make shots?
I mean, I don't think Walter Clayton Jr. is that type of player.
No, they ham and egg it.
Player in any given game.
They ham and egg it around Markkanen and around Keontae George, who are getting there 29, 30, 31 points. And then one night, Clayton's goes off. Another night, Sensabaugh had a 20-point game. So ham and egg it with somebody else around those two.
The coolest thing for me that happened in both of those games was when Detroit tied the game, and then they're in the final seconds. I forget how many, but it was obviously right down to the end. When the Jazz took the ball out of the backcourt, and at that point, I just naturally went to, oh, this is George's moment. And like it was a natural reflex Pavlov dog's reaction, and then he makes the shot. And so I thought about it afterward. I immediately went to, this is his opportunity. He's going to have the ball. He's going to take the shot. And I felt a fair amount of confidence that he's going to make the shot. And the point I'm making is the stature of that young man. That's the story of the season to date. His just ascension up the totem pole on this team, and maybe in the league. We'll see how it continues to play out. That's the number one overriding story. There's nothing else that I can say competes with this regarding the Jazz. And to me, just to naturally assume it's going to be George, that's how far he's come basically in 2 months.
I think the assumption there, if you knew it, then don't the Pistons know it, and the Pistons can't do anything about it. That's got to be the exciting thing for Jazz fans going forward.
Yeah, no question.
Tomorrow night, Jazz host the Celtics at the Dell Center, tip-off at 7 o'clock. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Kawhi Leonard, the double nickel, a career-high 55 points. The Clippers beat the Pistons 112-99. Clippers have won 4 in a row. They've got 10 wins on the season now, and they are one of several teams at the bottom of the league that is suddenly winning, PK, from 7-3 in the last 10 to 2-2 in the last 4. There's all kinds of streaks here. Even the Nets have been winning games. What is going on?
I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to that. I mean, who cares what the Nets do? I look at Yegor and see what he does.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of the story there. But the Nets have won 3 in a row now and 4 out of 5. So as much as the Jazz are winning, they still haven't pulled away from the bottom of the league as far as losing that draft pick.
Yeah, but if they go the way they are,
they're going to. Yeah.
And I don't care what the Clippers aren't a threat to do anything, and the Nets. I have no idea who they even played and beat.
Wolves, Sixers, and Raptors. Decent teams. Go figure. Lakers righted their ship. J.J. Redick's been upset with the team, calling them out for the lack of effort. They beat the lowly Kings 125-101. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
Ready for conference games already, PK? Had enough of the warm-up stuff? We're almost there. Depending on the league, we are there. The WAC begins conference play. UVU's playing Cal Baptist tonight, and Southern Utah's playing Utah Tech.
Way to go for those guys. Yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to Big 12 play.
Utah's playing their last non-conference game. They're at Washington, 9 o'clock on FS1 tonight.
Although I will say some of the things that transpired here in college basketball, I'm out. I don't care who wins anymore. I'll follow BYU, Utah State because it's the job. But if you're signing guys who are NBA draft picks,
yep, there are no rules.
You've lost me.
Yeah.
And now there's a possibility of a guy who actually played in an NBA game. And I'm not a huge college basketball guy anyway.
But now it's not college basketball. If you're getting G League guys and NBA draft picks, and Tom Izzo went off on this and said, look at all these big-time coaches, and especially underlined Jay Wright walking away. I mean, Krzyzewski was at a point where his career was going to end sooner or later anyway. But Jay Wright definitely walked away prematurely. But it's not that I don't think most people think Izzo's wrong. I just think he's screaming into the wind and nobody can hear him. It's not going to change anything. I think this is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, though.
Really? You think it'll change?
Mark? Yeah, but I think the fans will say,
never mind.
We're not really into this here. You're picking up guys, teams routinely picking up guys off the waiver wire.
That used to be the joke. You can't do that. Now they can, mid-season.
Utah gets a player from a Spanish player, and we'll see what he can do. Basically what they're doing is they're watering down the non-conference season even more, and they're going to expand the tournament, which is just going to make the dilute the regular season beyond pollution. But see me in March. I'll be interested in March.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
The golf league is back indoors. Got the big screen, got the putting green, and the Atlanta Drive beat New York. Chance to watch the guys in the offseason. Drive over from their home, have a few laughs, make a few putts, hit onto a few ridiculous TV screens. I guess it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, not yet. I think for me, I would go in more into January. Right now, there's a ton of stuff going on. I think the biggest news in golf was Brooks Koepka saying he's dropping out of the LIV. What does that mean? What does that mean for the PGA Tour? What does that mean for this LIV thing that really, in my mind, hasn't taken off? I think that's the number one story in golf right now.
Right now, it sounds like Koepka is going to take some time off. I think he should be back on the PGA Tour, and the talk of punishment, I get it because it was a commercial threat to everybody's wallet, and some people are going to want their pound of flesh. They've always said on the PGA Tour that these guys are independent contractors and they can do whatever. Well, if they're independent contractors, then he did whatever he wants. Seems to me if he can qualify, and maybe they want to make him go through Q school, although I'm pretty sure he'd get sponsor exemptions on a regular basis. I don't see why he shouldn't be back. I mean, after all, they're independent contractors. I've heard that a million times.
Well, he'll play in the majors if he's healthy, obviously, because they've already been doing that. And the PGA has the rule you have to wait a year since your last LIV appearance, which was in August. So basically, he has to redshirt. The college guys can transfer willy-nilly at all times, anytime, and they're immediately eligible. But now Brooks Koepka has to sit out as a redshirt because if he wants to go to one tour to the other. So I don't think in terms of consistently seeing him on the PGA Tour, it's going to be in 2026, but it's going to be in 2027 if he wants to.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Utah Mammoth have been off since the 23rd. They are back at it tonight, hosting the Nashville Predators at the Delta Center. Puck drops at 7. Pregame show at 6. An interesting game in the Central Division. The Predators chasing one of those last couple of wild card berths in the West. They're sitting on 36 points. The Mammoth on 39. So we're almost halfway through the season. Interesting game tonight, and you can hear it right here on The Zone.
Well, I think we're still waiting for them to go on a streak. I mean, they had the streak early, but then that's been washed away. Can they do it again? And now's the time to do it, right? As we're approaching into January, get yourself set up. I continue to say it. I want to see them, when we get into early March, be in the playoffs, just a matter of where they fall in the standings, not are they fighting to get in. But right now, if I had to guess, I would think that they would be fighting to get in.
Sitting on 39 points, tied for the last spot in the West. I think you're spot on there. And January is really interesting because there really isn't a February. I mean, they play one game early in February and one game late, but they're off for most of February because of the Olympics. Yeah. So January is huge. The games will keep coming fast and furious.
Yeah, that's why I said get to March and see where they're at.
What's Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Steve Cleveland coming up at 8 o'clock. Shayan Jayaraja coming up at 9 o'clock.
That'd be Yogi Roth at 9 o'clock.
Coming up next, stay with us. The question of the day. I think you know the topic. That's next. Stay with us.